Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to today's webinar, Improving Your Money Habits. I'm Chris Scabofilax. I'm a consultant with the Mass General Brigham Employee Assistance Program. Very pleased, as always, to partner with Harvard University Employees Credit Union for today's presentation. And I'll kick it over to Ty to introduce himself and Terrence as well.
Thanks, Chris. My name is Ty. I'm one of the two community engagement specialists here with the credit union on our team with the Harvard University Employees Credit Union. I'm here with Terrence. We're going to be leading today's presentation. And it's great to meet you guys. Thanks for everyone for coming here. I'm going to kick it back to Chris so we can talk a little bit more about the Employee Assistance Program before we jump into the meat and potatoes of today's presentation.
Yep. Thank you, Ty. And yeah, just really quickly, want to make sure that everybody knows about our department and the resource and benefit that you have available to you as employees in the Mass General Brigham system. So again, just really quickly, we're happy to partner with Credit Union for this presentation, and just want you to know about all of the benefits that you do have available to you. So we help with short-term work and problem solving for all employees of the Mass General Brigham system, as well as immediate household family members as well. Cover all different sorts of things. As you can see on the screen, it could be related to mental health or relationships, things like that. Could be work-related issues, or also family life kind of resources. So we can help with referrals for things like legal issues, for childcare, and certainly for financial as well. So happy to talk to you about any financial concerns, and can make appropriate referrals, such as to Harvard University Employees Credit Union, of course, and many others. We're available 24/7. We have routinely scheduled appointments, which might come, a business day or a few business days out, but we also have on-call support. So if anything is ever crisis or just pressing or time sensitive, just so you can always connect with a counselor on call within moments or minutes. Our phone number's down there, our website, eap.partners.org, and we offer and partner on a variety of webinars as well. You can find those recordings on our website. So look forward to today's presentation, and happy to answer any questions at any point about the EAP. But otherwise, I will kick it back to Ty for today's presentation. Looking forward to it.
Thanks again, Chris. All right, so today we're going to be talking about improving money habits, but a few housekeeping things before we get there. So we are in webinar mode today, which means that all of the attendees are automatically muted and cameras are off. So feel free to enjoy your lunch, have a snack, whatever you got to do. This is going to help us make sure we reduce background noise. I'm sure you are all very used to Zoom at this point. But one thing we are going to make use of today is we're going to use the Q&A questions feature on Zoom today rather than the chat feature. We do encourage questions at all times during the presentation. We'll try to answer them as we come in, but we'll also make sure there's time for questions by the end. Just to make sure that the QA feature is working for today's presentation, I would love it if you guys could pop in the Q&A right now and just say where you're joining us from. And if you are a member of the credit union, how long you've been a member, or if you're not a member, let us know. We'd love to hear back from you guys, and just make sure that the feature's working. So please take a minute to take a look at that. I see we have some people joining from Boston. Who would have thought? MGB. I see one person from Vermont. That's my hometown. That's nice. My homeland. I love Vermont. Yep. Thank you guys for using this. Wonderful. So please feel free to use the Q&A feature with any questions you have at any time today. We've got a couple other people from Mass, Westford, Everett. Very nice. Thanks for joining, everyone. Okay, so a couple other notes. We are recording today's presentation. One thing we always try to do is make sure that all of our presentations are easily found and accessible. So after today, you will get an email with the recording of the presentation, as well as all of our presentations, both this one and all the other topics and presentations we've done, are available for free on our YouTube channel at any time. If you search on YouTube, My HUECU, you're going to find all of our videos. There's really great content in there. If you weren't quite sure something that was said today and you wanted to follow up, please take a look. We record all the presentations. And then we also do have a survey. Feedback is really important to us. We really want to make sure that we are speaking directly with our clientele, our members, the community. So anything and everything you guys have to say, we read each and every response. So part of the post-webinar email will be a survey link, but also I will link to the survey towards the end of the presentation as well. So if you feel like you had something you wanted to say or give some feedback, definitely fill that out and let us know. We always want to make sure we're listening to you guys. All right, so quick other also note about credit unions. The major difference between a credit union and as a bank is we here at the HUECU, is that we are a not-for-profit organization. This means that all of the profit that we would make as a financial institution, we actually give back to our members in terms of waiving fees, in terms of better rates, in terms of other benefits. And all of our members are part-time owners in the credit union, which is how we are also a not-for-profit. So if you open an account, you yourself would be a part-time owner in the credit union and would be able to share in all of the great benefits that we have. Some of those, like I said, are lesser fees, better rates, things like that. But we also have a lot of other services and things available, such as Thrive. HUECU.Thrive. This is our financial services partner. They offer all sorts of wonderful things, such as individual one-on-one financial counseling. They also offer lots of online courses and things like that. I've gone ahead and put a link in the chat directly to the Thrive page on our website. Definitely take a look. In these presentations, we talk really big picture, sort of just overview. But if you're wondering how you can apply this to your own individual situation, definitely go to GreenPath and Thrive and speak with one of their financial consultants. And this is the GreenPath slide. Yep. So GreenPath is part of Thrive, the financial wellness. All the information is right there in the link. Definitely take a look. I strongly recommend it. There's all sorts of information there, and it will help you really make sure you take the next steps. All right. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Terrence for the meat of the presentation. Thank you guys for being here.
Awesome. Thank you, Ty. Great intro. Love that. And let's move right into the content, behavioral economics. So right now, this presentation will cover the psychology of what influences our financial decisions and how we could potentially get a little bit more control over that. And I know that kind of sounds a little bit far out, a little bit like, wait, what's going on? Behavioral economics sounds complicated. No, it's really simple, and it's going to help you make better financial decisions that really help you inform your goals and hopefully allow you to make decisions that align with your own goals. So first things first, we would like to ask everybody in the audience to take your money personality quiz. It's a really quick quiz. Just Google nerdwallet.com/money personality. I think, Ty, you have that link.
Chat.
Beautiful.
Yep,
Ty put that link in the chat. And as you're doing that, I'm going to continue on. Please feel free to take the money personality quiz, and I'll give you maybe 10, 20 seconds to take it. And as you're taking it, I'm going to move right into the next slide talking about what the different money personalities are and some examples of them. First off, there's money avoidance, where, well, before I even get into that, I want to preface this. No matter where you are on the spectrum of money avoidant, money worship, money status, money vigilant, there's no right or wrong answer. There's no good or bad. It is what it is. And that's completely okay. Once we now know where you are with your money personality, we can see and take a look at some tips and tricks to potentially make your money personality work for you. Because we all know with these advertisers, Amazon, Google, Facebook, they're listening in. They want to get your money. They want to find new ways to get you to spend money in places that you really don't want to spend money. And we at HUECU, we want you to spend your money where you want you to spend your money. And we have the same goals. We're aligned in that way. And I will be very forthcoming with my money personality, where I am money status and money vigilant. And I think that's because I've been in banking for the entirety of my career, and I've been tainted by the banking industry, where I think money is everything, but it's not, and it's completely okay. I have an example of where when I was younger, I thought money status was my self-worth, and I did everything I could. I had side hustles. I was constantly going so that way I could get a quick buck, or I had multiple things going on. And I realized, you know what, I was kind of missing out on life. I got together with my partner, and she really had me stop and smell the roses and say, Terrence, you don't always have to keep going. You don't have to keep going with the side hustles. You can relax a little bit. And it took some doing, and it's been kind of nice. I'm not going to lie to you, where no matter where you are on this spectrum, having some awareness of what your personality is can help you with the behaviors that we'll talk about later. So that way you can honestly just make it work for you. Let's see. I actually had a friend who was money vigilant and very frugal and focused on savings. And she actually would do everything in her power to set money aside. And one of the ways that she would do it is she would set up a bank account outside of her town, like 2 to 3 towns away. And because it was going in their direct deposit, she did not have access to it, which was great. She was saving a lot of money, but whenever it came time to maybe going out, having a good time, she couldn't go because she was too focused on savings. So again, I say this not to say no matter where you are on the spectrum, it's bad, but being aware of where you are is a great place to start in terms of changing the personality, making it work for you. Now, let's look at some factors that potentially influence your money personality. The first two that I'll talk about, I'll kick over to Ty to talk about his two, is I'll talk about advertising and I believe self-concept. With advertising, now, we've all been there. Let's be honest with ourselves. We said maybe we wanted to get a new car or we wanted to buy something, let's say a new, what's something I wanted to buy recently? I wanted to buy actually a new coffee mug. And all of a sudden, my phone started popping up with all these different ads, and it felt like it was listening to me. And I feel like we've all been there, especially in the stage of technology and social media, where our phones are constantly listening. And as soon as we click on one little thing, whether no matter where it is on YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram, now we start seeing ads for it everywhere. That's not by accident, that's by design. There's a lot of money that goes into advertising to potentially get you to spend your dollars on that next product. And if you are someone who is maybe a bit more money avoidant, money frugal, the advertising may not potentially impact you as much as somebody else who may be money avoidant, who may not look at how their money is going, who may not really have an interest to see what's being spent. Next thing I want to touch on is self-concept, where this can be very individual based on the person. And for my situation, I want to say my culture. My culture very much didn't have a lot of conversations when it came to money. And it was kind of a taboo concept in my household. So I didn't really know what was going on. But it was until I became a professional that I really sat down. I was like, hey, what's going on with money? How can I really learn my best? And how can I become more money literate when it comes to financial wellness? And through that journey, I discovered, hey, I have a passion for this. I love this. And I believe it's something that we can all share. Ty, anything else you want to add?
Yeah, so social factors are also a great influence on money personality. And this means like, I don't know about you guys, but I've got a friend who is always going on trips, like always traveling. That's what they love to do. That's how they love to spend their money. And they always want me to join them. And I'm like, it's just not going to fit on the books in terms of like finances and things right now. But there's that pressure, right? Where it's like you don't want to miss out on this great trip that you could go on with your friend, your close friend, your family. But sometimes, there's that pressure from the people close to us to spend money, whether that's to not feel like you're missing out on something that you would otherwise get to do with them or whatever it is. And sometimes you just got to like take a step back and like figure out what you need to do for yourself, for your own finances in any given situation. But you want to make sure that you can't miss out on the trips too. So you got to figure it out. But luckily, that's what we're here to try to like help provide situations and some context for. Now, with values, everybody has different values on what they put money on and what they want to spend money for. Me personally, what I always like to do, I have my mantra, which is that I spend the most money where I spend the most time. And what that means is anywhere I spend a lot of my life, such as sleeping in my bed, such as on my phone, I like to spend money to make sure I have a good, high quality version of that thing. So I personally like to spend more money on a nice phone, spend more money on a nice bed, I spend a lot of time on my computer, spend more money on the nice one of those so that I have a nice quality, top of the line version of that thing. So I feel like when I'm spending that money on those hobbies or whatever it is, that I get to enjoy the nice things for that. So that's
I
how I
love
like to
that.
think about it.
I
Yeah,
love that, Ty. I really do like the philosophy. And ever since you mentioned it in one of these earlier presentations, I've kept it with me and it has changed my own money personality. So I appreciate you for that.
no problem. That one's for free.
Next up, how to maximize your money personality. So we've talked about potential ways. First, we talked about what money personalities are and what yours could potentially be. Next, we talked about some potential factors. Now we'll learn how to improve and potentially maximize that money personality. And how this starts and how any good plan starts is defining the financial goals. So I'm actually going to ask you, Ty, what are some potential financial goals that you're putting down?
Well, right now I just spend way too much money on Christmas presents. I like to spoil my family a little bit. So currently going into the new year, my goal is just kind of save back up, get, an emergency fund kind of going and just like start figuring out what kind of trips and stuff I want to do in the new year. So for now, I'm just trying to save and batten down the hatches.
Awesome. And as Ty and I are talking about this, please take this time to write down and actually write it down your own financial goals that you're planning for 2024, whether it's New Year's resolutions, whether it's maybe paying down some debt, or like you're like Ty planning some trips. Me personally, I am planning to take a trip to Japan in 2025. Always wanted to go. My heart's in Japan. I love it. But it's a pretty lofty goal, and how all good goals start and how all good goals are achieved are they're written down, you're committed to them, and you keep going. But there can be some hiccups or some bumps along the way, and we will touch on that later on. And also, if you feel comfortable sharing, please put your goals that you're writing down in the Q&A feature. We would love to see them and love to highlight them if it's okay. Let's see. Next up. Now, we're going to move into the improving our behaviors portion of the presentation, where we're going to talk about some specific behavioral economic phrases and some mindsets around behavior. First one is pre-commitment. Now, I am not going to sugarcoat anything. Budgeting is not the most fun thing to do on a Saturday. I'm not gonna lie to you. Maybe writing down how you spent your money this past month, not the most fun. But pre-commitment allows you to commit to something in advance in the course of an action. And one of the ways that I implement this, especially when it comes to working on my finances, is scheduling time to put on my calendar. And because I know very well it's not the most fun thing for me to do, I sprinkle some fun in here and there where I will set time on my calendar, and then I will grab myself a very delicious drink, depending on the time. Maybe it's a beer, maybe it's a glass of wine, maybe it's some tea, honestly. I'll put on some stand-up comedy. I'm really enjoying the whole Netflix special stand-up comedy things that are going on right now. And I sit down and I budget. This way it allows me to stick to my goals and be very honest and hold myself accountable to the goals that I set in motion at the beginning of the year, and have periodic check-ins on a maybe monthly or quarterly basis. Any examples you have for pre-commitment time?
Yeah, I wanted to talk real quick about the cash envelope method. So the envelope method is a bit of an old-fashioned method where you would take a bunch of envelopes, and then any bills and expenses you have, you would write on the envelope what that was, and then you would put the cash in the envelope so you knew the cash was already accounted for all of your bills and that kind of thing. You can still make use of that in today's world, of course, but I like to do a little bit of a more modern version of it, which is that I actually open up a couple different extra bank accounts, like checking accounts on my online banking. And then I name all those accounts, like bills, rent, all that sort of stuff. And then when my paycheck comes in, I automatically transfer the money to each individual account so that it's already accounted for in those accounts. And then I have the automatic payments coming out of those accounts. So it's already separated. And you know how some bill payments, like your credit card payments, they don't come out right away. So if you're paying that from your main expense account, you might think you have more money in there than you do because the money is already technically paid, but it hasn't come out yet, and it could be a little confusing. So separating the money so that visually you can see exactly how much you have left over and what's already accounted for helped me a lot. And I think that's a huge thing that can help people.
Honestly, Ty, that's an underrated tip. I'm not gonna lie to you. The automation aspect of that, I love it so much. And naming those different accounts, great concept. Thank you for sharing. Next up, let's get into goal gradients. Now, everybody here on the call heard that I've made a goal to go to Japan, and Japan may not be the cheapest place to go, but I do want to go there because it makes me happy. I love anime. I will do when I get out there, and I have cousins and friends who are all into Japan as well. So, for me, it's about 5 to 6 grand of money that I'm going to be spending over there, and I want to have a great time. But that's a lot. And to be honest, when I first made this goal a couple years ago, I had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea how to properly plan for this. And I'm very happy that I've stumbled upon and learned about goal gradients, because it's allowed me to break down my goals into smaller goals, and they've been a lot more attainable on a monthly basis. And that's exactly what goal gradients are, where I can build an emergency fund gradually. But for my personal goal, Japan, I know it's 6 grand, and I can break that down into, maybe if I want to be kind of conservative, or not conservative, but a bit more aggressive, I can say 2 grand per year that I want to save. And if that monthly, maybe 200 to 250. And if I am not able to hit my monthly goal every single month, that's completely okay. I 100% do not want to communicate that if you set your monthly goal of whatever number it is and you don't hit that goal, that you failed. No, 100% not what I'm saying at all. As long as you're able to make some progress, and slow progress is better than no progress. Goal grading is just one of the techniques where if you're money avoidant or you're not really comfortable with setting out that plan too far in advance, having very small bite-sized pieces and the power of small wins will propel you and motivate you to keep going months and months. Next, planning fallacy, underestimating how long it would take you to complete a task. I'm going to ask the Q&A in the chat, and I'm also going to ask you, Ty, how often, or at least do you have any examples of this? Before you go with yours, I'm going to talk about mine and say this has been the bane of my existence when it came to being in college and taking classes, especially when it came to writing a 10-page paper, and my professors would say, hey, we'll issue it and assign it at the beginning of the semester and give me 3 months to work on it, and I'll procrastinate and say, I can do that in a day. And it was completely wrong. And to be honest with you, that's very human. Ty, what's your example? What you got?
Oh, I mean, just similar things where I, want to do some kind of art project or something like that, something for my hobbies. And I'm like, okay, like I can spend this much money and spend this much time to complete this task, but then it always takes more than I think. And I'm halfway through and realizing that it's going to be more money, more time to get it done, and just really trying to like make sure I have a realistic expectation of what that's going to be in the future is something to really think about.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, actually, one more great example is the weekend. I'm always overbooking and over planning my Saturdays to think I can get through so much. I'm gonna wake up early. I'm gonna do laundry. I'm gonna pay all my bills. I'm gonna clean the house. And then Saturday comes and I end up doing one of those things. So this is a great multiple examples of what planning fallacy is. And now that you know what it is and you're aware of it, how do you make it worth your while when it comes to money personalities? Let's take it all right back to finances and the example of a credit card balance transfer, where you might underestimate how long it'll take you to potentially pay off a zero interest credit card balance transfer, where there is some risk to this, and I do want to communicate that. But if you say, you know what, I'm going to transfer my X $1,000, maybe $5,000 over to a new credit card, and you say, oh, I'll pay that off in a year. You may actually not be able to do that, and potential hiccups could come up and emergencies can come up. One of the best ways to do that is to take one of Ty's method, is to automate how much you're going to pay into that credit card every single month on a reoccurring basis. It goes into the account and it pays the credit card without you doing anything. And you know what? Maybe put that credit card away as it's being paid off. 100% use these tips in conjunction with another to make it work for you and your money personality. And one other thing, do not add additional debt. It can be a bit risky, and you could potentially end up in a pitfall where you were in more debt than you were before previously. Decision paralysis. Now, this is a very, this is very accessible behavioral analysis topic, where I personally face decision paralysis when it comes to food and grocery shopping. I always know when I'm hungry and what I roughly want to eat, but sometimes, I mean, I know exactly what I want to eat. And I've had partners in the past, and one of the ways that we've actually worked around this is doing something that kind of hacks the brain a little bit, especially when it comes to food, is pick a protein. And you can do the exact same thing when it comes to your finances. I usually say pick a protein, and it's usually like chicken, fish, meat, red meat. And then we slowly break it down into what we want to eat for that night. When it comes to decision paralysis and you're not making a decision, you choose what the easiest option, you want to be able to have a great concept of time as well. So that way you know what decisions work the best for you. Um, for example, this means that present security, we need to have a budget. For future security and freedom of choice, we need to save for goals, especially with retirement. But when it comes to budgeting, saving, and investing, it can be overwhelming to get started and very overwhelming. And that's just a quick explanation of the chart, where To be honest with you, future me and present me, two different people. Present me loves to have fun and loves to get out there and do what I want to do, but future me knows I gotta save money for retirement. And this decision paralysis may potentially stop me from choosing future me and allow me to just have fun in the present. Hmm. The best way to get around this again is to be aware of all your decisions and try your best to talk through all of them and see which ones work best for you. Next up is tunneling, where you are only focusing on the emergency at hand. And I'll be honest, this extends way farther than just finances. I think tunneling can potentially be an impact for honestly life as well, where things pop up. And sometimes when things pop up, you kind of focus in, you kind of get tunnel vision a little bit, and you really don't know what you want to do. And you quickly try to move so that way you're able to pay off or quickly get rid of that potential emergency as soon as possible when if you're money avoidant, that may not be the best option for you. We don't want to put anybody in a place of potentially tensing up. Take a deep breath, see what's going on, really take a step back and know your timeline, compare some options, and talk to somebody. I can't tell you how often I've been in, whether it's in a financial emergency or just what seems like a small emergency, and I panic and I start doing things, but talking to someone that you either a mentor or even your lender or just someone that you rely on to talk through it can help you get out of that tunnel mindset and make a decision that works best for you. Anything you want to add with this, Ty? Just checking in.
No, I think you got it.
Awesome,
You
cool.
know, just really making sure you keep a big picture and think about everything is one of the number one things when it comes to finances, is just think about all of the things you got to do.
Beautiful. So, next up is mental accounting. And this is treating money differently depending on the source and destination. Where my example for this is the IRS. How many people, especially when it comes to tax time, have received a potential tax refund, or maybe it's a bonus at the end of the year that they weren't planning on? And all of a sudden, it's like, oh, this is great. This is free money. I can spend it because I wasn't. Look at that, Ty. I knew it. You just all of a sudden you start making moves, you start doing things differently, and you treat that money as if you can do whatever you want with it. When you know what, maybe you have some goals. Maybe your goal is to pay down some debt. Maybe your goal is to take that vacation. Use mental accounting to your benefit by naming your savings account. And I cannot understate the power and the emotional tie that comes with naming your savings account. Where let's say I name my savings account Japan vacation, and I do have one, it's created, it's there. When I put money into it, I'm not, and a potential emergency happens and I need to kind of pull some money, some funds together to resolve it. I have to stop and think twice. I'm not spending an account from I'm not spending money from account 4457 or 4431, whatever. And if that's anybody's account number, I'm sorry, that's random numbers, just made that up. But I'm spending money from my Japan vacation account. And when I had to click on that transfer button, it hurts a little bit. Where do I really want to spend this money now for this whatever emergency that pops up, or maybe even just eating out, when I rather set this money aside and spend it in Japan on vacation and really do it up while I'm there. And this little mental accounting tip and naming your savings account, it's a great way for those who are money avoidant, and maybe even if you're money vigilant as well, to build that emotional ties to your account and your financial goals. We're going to bring this all back around with financial goals and ensuring that each one of these habits is detailed and oriented and is able to give you a quick bite-sized tip to potentially take home with you today and immediately put it into action. Oh, and scarcity. This one is one of my favorites, especially when it came to talking about the pandemic, which one of us us, maybe not me, maybe not Ty, I don't know, were out there potentially buying toilet paper because of shortage. And this is a marketing tactic used by big box retailers, whether it's Amazon or Walmart, where you're online and you're shopping and you feel like I need to move quickly because things are running out. Nope, things are not running out. It's a tactic to make you feel like you need to act quickly. Um, I believe we've all been on Amazon where we've been at checkout and we've seen I think 2 to 3 items are left and we need to act now to buy the last one there. And again, to be honest with you, it's not. And this one more thing to outsmart the advertisers, don't make them work for you. Allow them to use their own tactics so that way you get the best bang for your buck. Next up is hyperbolic discounting, valuing the present more than the future. And now this is actually future me and this is future Terrence and present Terrence, where you're saving for retirement and whatnot. On the example on the screen, we have Iris and Lucas, and Iris has 25 to 30, she's 25 to 35 years old and only 10 years of investing, where Lucas is a bit on the older side and has 30 total years of investing and has invested more. But the main takeaway from this slide is time is on Iris's side, where she may have invested less, but the future value of her account will be about $50,000 more than Lucas, just because time and the power of compounding interest is significant and important and extremely valuable. Being able to put some money away, whether it's $2, $10, and I know inflation's tough right now, and this may not be something that's within reach right now, but still setting a goal where you're able to put something away, even if it's not as consistent as you would like it to be, it does help. Now, I do want to check in and have like a quick breather moment where we're going to talk about our investing services through CFS. And we now offer investing, which is great. As we're talking about retirement and whatnot, we have our new investor services person, Raj. He's actually a great person. He's super friendly, and you are available. If you are available and you're interested, please go on our website at huecu.org and you can check and book an appointment with Raj. Now, what the heck effect? This is losing motivation to prior behavior. Ty?
Absolutely. So, what I always like to remember with this one is a Star Trek quote, because I'm a big sci-fi fan, from Captain Jean-Luc Picard, which is, "It is possible to commit no mistakes and still lose. That is not a weakness, that is life." And what I like from that is that sometimes we can't follow through on how much we want to save or what life throws our way. And it can be demotivating to try to continue to keep putting money aside when you have to keep taking money out of it because you overestimate how much you could save and this and that. And eventually you just might feel like, oh, well, it's not even worth it. I keep putting money away and then taking it out, but it is worth it. It's always worth it. Even when life takes you down and you've done everything right, but for some reason you still need more money and you can't save it, it's okay. Just keep trying to stay motivated about it. Just keep doing what you can. If you're taking steps in the right direction, even if you take a couple steps back, you're still moving in the right direction. And that's important. And that getting the mental and like capacity for that is really going to help make sure that you are moving in that right direction.
Beautiful. I love that, Tyler. Thank you. So that brings us to the end of our presentation. And I do want to ask some next steps. I want to challenge everybody on to ask us questions for one, and two, identify some examples that we can improve on. For me personally, I'm taking one of Ty's tips and I'm naming that savings account. I do have one named Japan right now, but I'm going to set up some more automatic savings to go into it. And I also would like to challenge the group. What's one behavior that you can work on in the next 7 days? Please put in the chat any kind of money behavior or behavioral economic that you want to work on. Let us know. We're here to help, and please feel free to ask us questions as well. Bring us home, Ty.
All right. So I know I talked about Thrive a little bit at the beginning of the presentation, but I do want to talk about GreenPath, which is our financial services partner in terms of like educational. Definitely, I just put a link in the chat. Take a look. If you're wondering how you, in your specific situation, can make use of some of these concepts, GreenPath is definitely the next step. just take a look right on our website, huecu.com/thrive/GreenPath. And you can meet one-on-one individual for financial consultations. You could take some of these concepts and figure out how you can apply it to your own individual situation. There's also a bunch of like little workshops on there. It's great. Honestly, I can't talk about how great it is. Take a look at that next. That would be the next step.
Awesome. Love that, GreenPath. And Ty?
And our survey, I mentioned it earlier, but we really do read each and every response in our survey responses. We here at the community engagement team, we want to make sure that we are reaching each individual sort of person as well as the community. So anything you think we could kind of like do better, anything you liked, please, if you wouldn't mind just taking a minute to fill out the survey. You should get it in an email, as well as you can follow the link. And I will probably personally read each and every one of the responses to figure out if there's anything we can do or any little things we can add to this to make sure that it's even better. So thank you guys. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you so much. And as a full disclaimer, this presentation is only for educational purposes. This is not financial advice, and please don't sue us. We're just here we recommend some options, we present some facts and some resources for you, but by all means, if you are looking and interested in having any specific investment advice, reach out to GreenPath or reach out to Raj, and we're more than happy to help. Let's keep in touch. We are huecu@harvard.edu and find us on all social channels. So now we will be online for a little bit longer to answer any of the questions that come up in the Q&A. If anything's in there, then let's see in the chat. Oh, it looks like we're good. I don't see any questions coming in. If not, then thank you everybody for joining us today. Thank you very much for being with us. And thank you, MGB EAP, Chris, for joining us. And please reach out to them if you have any specific questions or resources that you're looking to get more information on.